Welcome to episode 38 of Let's Talk Money with Wendy Silibi. And just like that, we are back. How different would your future look if you had started investing the moment you received your first salary? Well, that's what we will be unpacking today with my special guest. Her name is Cisa, who is in the building. So if I was in another space, I would say drum roll, please. And if you're at home, you can do that. She's an investment specialist with one of the big banks, and she will help us shed some light on this topic. Welcome, Cisa.
Thank you, Mawins, and thank you for having me. And hi to your viewers as
well. And I think before we get into the topic, just a quick disclaimer. We are not giving advice.
Absolutely.
We are sharing financial literacy. We're empowering you with knowledge. If you want to make decisions around your investments, you have to contact a certified financial planner, right?
Absolutely. We're also sharing what you said, investment do's and don'ts.
Yes.
We'll be sharing the illiteracy as well. Not just the literacy. Because there's been a lot of illiteracy in my journey personally.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe let's start with you. Can you just share your personal journey with savings and investments, and what motivated you to start, and when did you start?
My goodness. I always say my journey with savings and investments started with debt. Right? Because I started eating away at my future by getting things I couldn't afford at times when I didn't need them to impress people I didn't even like.
Yay! Wow.
Right? So I remember, I tell this story quite often. I was in my 20s and I went and I bought a German sedan.
Wow.
Because
yes, girl.
I mean, people must know I'm in the building. And I didn't even like the people who I needed to know I was in the building.
Yeah.
I don't even know half of them right now. And those who are still in my life were never impressed by things like that. So I think money is such an emotional journey.
Yeah.
Money, it's an enabler, but it's also an exposer. It exposes sometimes the things that you don't have and you lack inside of yourself, right? So it's taken me a long time to have a healthy journey with money because I was stealing from my future, like I'm saying. When I started investing was possibly when I actually started in this role of being a leader or heading up a savings and investment portfolio in one of the big banks, like you said. And for me, it changed my life, it changed my mind about money. I stopped thinking about what I can't do and how, because we also have these preconceived ideas and myths around when you want to invest or save, it needs to be big, it needs to be grand, it needs to be this. And I realized that actually, firstly, stop stealing from your future with paying unnecessary interest on unnecessary debt. So I started closing my debts, and I had an accountability partner. And I started taking that money and putting it into different savings vehicles, and obviously diversifying my portfolio. I learned about diversifying my portfolio, and that was as recent as 6 years ago. I'm 40 this year, so it took me working. I'd been working for 15 years before I actually started investing and saving.
Yeah. Wow. It just reminds me of, my book, I wish someone had told me.
Absolutely.
How both of us wish that someone had told us.
Absolutely.
From the time we earned our first check, we should rather avoid getting into the debt trap and rather acquire assets and start investing.
Absolutely.
And you know what I love with your journey is that so many people actually, and even some that are watching us, are probably in their 40s. They're probably approaching their 50s and whatever age that they're approaching. And they might be sitting there and watching us and listening to us. And I want to encourage them, zisuka nje ukuthi it's never too late.
Absolutely.
To start, right? It doesn't matter what age you are at. And I always say the day you hear the message, that's the day you must do something. I think the tragedy is if you are going to listen to us having this conversation and you continue to condemn yourself instead of doing something. Now,
Absolutely.
in everything that you've said, I heard the accountability partner. How important is having an accountability partner when you are starting your savings and investment journey, and maybe even when you are setting goals, because I think it starts with setting those goals and then having someone who holds you accountable.
And I think if I can take it even a step back, I say this often, and I know you also say this often, that mental accounting does not work when it comes to your finances. Please, if you take nothing away, mental accounting does not work.
Yeah.
So understanding how much is coming into your account, you will not believe how many people I ask, how much do you earn? And people do not know the number that is on their payslip.
Yeah.
How much do you spend? People do not know how much they are spending. So it starts there to say, if I'm spending more than I'm making, I have a problem, even if I can service this debt, right? And there's good debt, there's bad debt.
Right.
You mentioned acquiring assets. If you're buying an apartment and one day you want to pay it off and be able to rent it out or whatever it is, and you're starting off in your 20s, that's the best thing you can do. You don't even have to live in it. You can rent it out, right? And then you have something that you are paying off. You've acquired something. You mentioned accountability partners. I'll make a silly example of my friends and I have a savings stokvel. Firstly, we had another one, Yala Crusade.
Pots.
Depot. Those pots, because we're just like this money. And we knew that on our own, we're not going to do these, we're not going to buy these pots.
Yeah.
So we started putting money into this joint savings account, right? And in this joint savings account, we put money every month, all of that. And the condition was, no one is getting cash. You will get a La Crusade store voucher, because that's what these savings are for. And everybody walked out of there with La Crusade pots, right? A year and a half later.
Yeah.
Another stokvel that we have, savings stokvel, where you can decide to take your money out in December or in January because you want to pay school fees, you want to be ready for the school year for your kids, or you want to go on holiday or whatever it is. Last year we didn't do it. And I was like, hey, this thing is admin, man. Nah, I don't want to do it. I'm going to do it on my own. Did I do it? Come December, I'm like, I missed that 50K that just feels like a gift. Because it does feel like a gift after a while.
Yeah.
And what we do is we obviously share proof of payments in our WhatsApp group to say, we've deposited into the stokvel account. Guys, when is your deposit coming? Just that. There's something about human nature of not wanting to not show up when you've committed to someone else.
Yeah.
The commitments that we make to ourselves that we so often don't live up to. When I make it to you and you look me in the eye and you're like, but you said, that is the importance of an accountability partner. And I think we've always had this as a community, which is, and I speak about Africans because I'm a black person. And as Africans, we've always had the sense of community. That's why when we did have communities back home where you knew you couldn't do certain things, even if it's not in front of your parent.
Yeah.
It's in front of another parent because you are accountable. They are accountable for you as a child. I remember taking stokvel money to a house every single month because Hunali Burial Society for the street. Right? Because we have to be there for each other. And if you don't do it and your neighbor doesn't do it, someone is going to say, hi, Bo, but we also have to be there for you.
Yeah.
So I think accountability partners are incredibly, incredibly important. Being open and honest with yourself, being naked with yourself and your budget. The B word that nobody wants. There are many budgeting tools. I am still as slow as using an Excel sheet. I use I sit and I'm like, hey, lana akuhlangani nangani. So what do I need to do to make these things hlangana?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's really staring yourself down and having honest conversations with yourself and an honest conversation with someone you trust.
Okay. So I like that, the fact that you do need someone to be accountable to. Now, let's say I'm not a group person. There are those people that just want to be on their own. And I want to save alone, right? Before I even ask you this question, I want to piggyback on what you said about mental accounting. And one of the things that makes us not to invest or stick to our plans, because many are the plans that we have in our heads, but it's difficult to put them on
execute.
paper. Yeah, or if we do, our mind is wired in such a way, as behavioral scientists would say, that, we have present bias, where we want to actually have this instant gratification, number one. Number two, what we want to do is we push out, our long-term goals in favor of our short-term goals. And that's just how we are wired. Now, if I'm one of those people, right, and I had, allowed present bias to take over, and I realized, Manje, yay, the months are going, the years are moving, and I want to start saving and investing. What are some, maybe let's start with unpacking, what are some of the common things that make us not to save and invest? You did touch on it a little, but I want us to just expand on it.
I think the some of the greatest myths are, one, it's too late. We tell ourselves it's too late. And we've got these, I don't know, these mental barriers that I'm 40, I'm old, I'm 50, I'm old, I'm 60, I'm old. If you still got breath in your lungs, you still have a reason to do things. Doesn't matter what your age is, right? One of my coaches, career coaches, said to me, I was in my 30s and I'm like, but I'm too old to start something new. And he's like, I'm 57, I've just moved to another country with my entire family. What do you mean? You're not a tree. And if it doesn't work out, you can always change, of course. So that's the first place. The second myth I'd like to debunk is, I don't have the money. I need to start big. There's actually a platform that, if you may, I'll actually even mention it. It's called ETFs SA, where they assist clients who don't know where to start. Where if you put in 1,000 rand, a portion goes to an RA, a portion goes to ETFs, a portion goes to a tax-free savings, right? Because we don't always know where to start. And also, it's this thing of also wanting to do things alone, right? Not wanting to back yourself by doing the research. What is right for you? Seeking the right information from the right people. You mentioned qualified financial advisors. They are there for a reason. They can help you start somewhere, right? So I think those are the biggest things and the myths. And also, another thing that we do is, you spoke about instant gratification. One of the things that I do personally to protect my money from me, because I'm my money's biggest problem and threat. So I move my money out of my check account. Literally what's in my check account is for my debit orders. I move money into my credit card where I earn more points because of swiping there. The money that I earn from those points goes into an investment. And that's what I've done.
Wow.
Because I earn double points using my credit card. I take that, I convert it into money, I put it into a tax-free savings account.
Right.
But to the point around moving my money and protecting it from myself, one of for me, my investments vehicles is a 24-hour notice deposit, right? Which I sweep money into automatically from my account. It goes into there. I don't even get involved. I've automated it because I know myself. The more steps there are to doing something, the less I'm likely to do it, because there's too much cognitive engagement and I'm busy. And I like to tell myself I'm busy, but when I'm swiping, I'm not busy.
Yes.
And when I'm swiping, I don't look at my phone. I don't want to look at those notifications. So what do? Because I understand that that's my relationship with money. Let me protect it before it even comes into my account or sits in my account. Let it be in an interest-bearing account where I need at least a day to think about it. And there's a reason why I'm emphasizing this. There are very little things or needs that we have that can't wait 24 hours.
Yeah.
Very few things. Whether it's a sale, whether it's this, I can convince myself that I need something. I want to need it. And that time,
I want to need it. I like
that,
yeah.
That time, I've got so many of these things. I was actually thinking this morning, I bought the sweater I'm wearing today about 8 months ago. I'm wearing it for the second time only. And I'm like, there's this consumer in me, right? Which I constantly need to face and fight. And this is how I fight her.
Yeah.
To say, if it can't wait 24 hours for me to think about it, I shouldn't be buying it.
Yeah.
Unless I have budgeted to buy it. Because also, I don't believe in being a Scrooge McDuck and uznishi life, nice time when you work hard, right? But let it be budgeted. Let it be part of your plan. Let there be I've even got a pocket where I can access immediately. It's called Soft Life, that one. And I know that one is for, that's for I blew it. Because when I want to buy something now, but bulk of my money goes into an account where there is friction between me and accessing that money.
Right. Okay. And I mean, from what you've said, Cisa, the first thing is that you need to know yourself.
Absolutely.
When it comes to money, and protect yourself from your own money. I think our money personalities, I think in episode 2, we talked in great details about our money archetypes. And I would encourage, whoever is watching to go and watch that episode so that...
Can I just tell you, those archetypes make me feel attacked.
Yeah. But they're true.
But they're true.
They're like witchcraft.
It's like looking yourself in the mirror. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, so I think it's important that you know who you are when it comes to money. Because if you listen to Cisa, because now you understand your money archetype, right? You've put in strategies in place, which when your salary comes in, immediately what you don't need for debit orders must go elsewhere. And then you spread it out into pockets where there's money that it will be a lot of work to access because you understand your archetype. That's the kind of a pocket that I use because I know that I'm a carer. So I make sure there's money that I can access even if I want it. Right? And then you spread it into little pockets. And like you say, there's a pocket where you say, this is money I'm going to Bubudla or whatever. This pocket is for this pocket is for that. And I think this is so critical in our investment journeys so that we avoid the mistakes, that other people have made. I think when we were growing up, we've seen how our parents were making many mistakes because they didn't know. But for anyone watching here, they have no reason why they should still continue making the mistakes that our parents made and some that we have made. We are sharing this information, this knowledge, this empowerment so that they can do better than all of us,
Absolutely.
And one of the things that keeps us from achieving our goals, procrastination.
Yeah.
How do we deal with that? And how does, procrastinations and our emotion influence our investment decisions and journeys?
I tell people this all the time, and I say, time is your ally. When it comes to money, time is your ally. I'll make an example. 30 years ago, a wimpy burger was 11 rand.
Mm-hmm.
The beef patty was bigger, the bun was bigger, the chips were more. and the Coke was bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Today, a Wimpy burger is what, almost 100 rand, I guess. I don't eat fast food much. I make this example because it was in one of my business school modules, so I'm not promoting Wimpy or anything, or saying there's anything wrong with it. 100 rand, what buys you, 100 rand buys you the same thing, actually less of it because the quantities are smaller than what it would have bought you 30 years ago.
Yeah.
The point I'm trying to make is your money is losing value.
Yeah.
Money is not the same. It's not going to be the same in 10 years' time.
Right.
And the only way to protect money from losing its value is by investing it, putting it towards something. If your money is not earning interest, you are cheating yourself, you are cheating your money. And I always say, like I'm saying, time is your ally. So if you start today, Alan Gray does this very well. I love that ad where there's a kid who constantly, if he makes money somewhere, the dad takes from 20 cents from his money, and it continues until he starts working, and eventually the dad passes away, and he gets a call, and they're like, yeah, this is what your dad left you, right? And this is a concept you know this about me, I've introduced into my circles to say, for my daughter who's now 2.5, I love that people want to flourish with gifts and all of that, but invest in her future if you can. And it doesn't matter if it's 100 rand
or 50 rand
or 50 rand, whatever it is that you had set in your heart to give or you can give. You are changing her life. And generational wealth is seldomly created by an individual. It has to be a collective. It has to be a collective mindset. And I loved what you said earlier, that we are breaking barriers that are there in our psyche. The only thing I ever heard about money was it doesn't grow on trees. So a lot of us have got a lack mentality. That's why we buy big things to show people that we're not lacking, right? Yeah. And there's a level of self-actualization that we need to enforce on ourselves and to protect ourselves from those, I would say, traumatic money experiences, because money is also very relational. If you respect money and hold it in high regard, it will respect you and hold you in high regard yourself. You will not lack, but you've got to hold it in high regard. And that is my idea of love in general. You cannot love me and I cannot love you if I don't respect you and hold you in high regard. And I'm taking that, we always say, the love of money is the root of all evil. No. If you love money properly, by respecting it and regarding it, it will respect you and it will regard you. And the beauty about that is that it changes the generation and the generation after that and the generation after that. The things we call generational curses become now generational blessings. Because now you change the trajectory of the thinking. You change the trajectory of the consumerism. I'm not saying don't buy your child nice clothes. I'm not saying don't take them to the greatest schools. I'm saying I am judging you if your child has a PlayStation, whatever, and no savings. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying if your child has 16 toys, it's 1,000 rand. And I don't know about your kids. Maybe your kids are, I don't know, better than mine. The head is one side in a week. The body of the doll is another side the same week. The expensive clothes, my mom wanted to buy my daughter a Christmas dress. And she wanted to buy her some dress that cost 1,200 rand. I'm like, in 6 months, it's not going to fit her. That's how quickly she grows. I love that you want to do that, but take this money. Let's take 600 and put it in her savings account, and you can spend 600 on her. Let's do that. Yeah. So that's what it takes a collective, and it also takes us having these money conversations to change each other's minds and educate each other.
Yeah. I love it. Everything that you've said is so powerful, and I'm hoping those of you that are watching are taking on the lessons. One of the things that you've said that is very powerful is that, those that are young parents, do that for your children. Instead of buying them 100 toys, still buy them toys, but let the bulk of the money or the giftings that people give be put into some sort of investment or savings account. You know, my daughter, the school that she went to, it was one of those private schools, and when they reached matric, oh my word, the car park, the kids there were driving better makes of the car that I drive. I had already been working for about 30 years, and I mean, I had a modest car. And I asked Guti, hey, these kids, these cars that they drive. And you know, I spoke to one parent and she said, no, when this child was born, as soon as the child had an ID, we took 500 and we put it there, we automated it, and over the years, when the child turned 18, there was so much. They could buy them that brand of car and also buy them an apartment and also have money for their university. So I think this is an amazing lesson that I hope you take away with you as we come towards the conclusion of this conversation. I think I'm going to bring Cisa back for us to continue chatting. But as we close off this conversation, I'm 40 years, I'm 45. I realized, Gutiazini, I've got nothing. I appeared on another podcast and we were talking along these lines. And so I just want to say to you, talk to me. If I'm 40 or 45, I probably have lost whatever investments that I had because of circumstances beyond my control. Or I never had this knowledge and wisdom to know that I must invest. But I'm 40 and 45. It's not too late for me to start. Can you just inspire someone?
It's never too late. I say this, I sound like a preacher. For as long as you have breath in your lungs, nothing is too late.
Yeah.
It's only too late one day when that alarm clock rings and you don't wake up. That's the only time it's too late.
Yeah.
And you don't know how long you're going to live. You might be 40 today, you might live until you're 80. That's another 40 years on earth that you can start planning for, right? So I'd say to a 40-year-old, if you're in debt, firstly, and I'm talking about bad debt, I'm talking about clothing accounts, I'm talking about high interest loans, I'm talking about that type of debt. I'd like you to take your debt and write it down, put it on a spreadsheet, but make it real. Face it and say, from highest to lowest, what do I owe? From highest to lowest, what are my installments? And tackle the smallest one. If the installment is 200, make it 250. When you're done with that one, it's called the snowball effect. You take that 250 and you put it towards the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And while you're doing that, you can start putting 50 Rand away in a tax-free savings account. If you are 40 years old, 45, you do not have a tax-free savings account, you are doing yourself a disservice. This is the only account where the interest you earn cannot be taxed. You have a lifetime contribution of 500,000 and an annual contribution of 36,000 Rand a year. What does that mean a month? That's 3,000 Rand a month. And you might look at me and say, Cisa, I don't have 3,000 Rand a month. And I'm like, sure, you don't. But my girl, if you're drinking, if you like that champagne and it's 800 Rand, that bottle of champagne, you've got 1,000 Rand at least that you can take and put it in there. You don't have to max it out every year. But as you reduce this side, you increase this side until you get to a point where you have contributed, because you've still got a good 20 years of working, and max out your retirement annuity contributions as much as possible. You're avoiding tax there, firstly, on your income, and you get a tax rebate. When you do get your tax returns, take a portion of it. I know, school fees, but make sure whatever lump sum comes into your account, there must be a percentage. And I say, I've got a golden number. For me, it's a minimum of 20%.
Yeah.
I do more, but when I can. But it's a minimum of 20% of money where I haven't earned it all. It just comes, goes into some type of investment. There are unit trusts if you're a little bit scared about the markets and you don't know how to trade, and there are ETFs where you can buy portions of shares. There are different platforms where you can go and find out this information. But I would say, firstly, start with the tax-free, because this is your retirement plan. Have a retirement annuity that gives you a tax rebate. Take something else and put it into an emergency fund so that you don't have to be pushed into debt when something does kind of happen to you. So I would say that would be my advice to a 40-year-old like me.
Wow. Thank you. There you have it. I mean, that you are in debt is not a death sentence.
Absolutely.
You can do something about it. And while you are paying off debt, you can start your investment journey. Actually, my book, I wish someone had told me, I actually created a workbook that helps you to do exactly what you were talking about, the snowball effect and all of that. So if you still don't have my book and the workbook, this is an opportunity for you to get one for yourself. Well, this brings us to the end of this episode, and I promise that Cisa will be back. This time around, we will literally delve into all these classes of investments so that we empower you even more. As you embark on this journey, you know what to do and how to do it. With that said, thank you for watching. Please share this episode, subscribe, and like. And until next time, thank you.